Welcome to the third lecture for visual literacy. In this lecture, I will explain to you how to do a formal analysis of an artwork. We will discuss three very different artworks, and I will explain to you how to do a formal analysis of these artworks. The learning outcomes of this lecture are to understand formal analysis as an art historical method and to be able to analyze any artwork using formal analysis as a method. Formalism is the study of art based solely on an analysis of its form. This means that we look at the way it is made and what it looks like. Formalism as an art historical method maintains that the most important aspect of an artwork is its form. Form refers to the way it is made and the visual aspects, rather than its narrative content or the story that it is telling, even the way that it is related to the world. The reason why we do a formal analysis is to explain how the formal elements of a work of art affect the representation of the subject matter and expressive content. When doing a formal analysis, you look only at what you can see in the artwork. You will look at the colors and the qualities of color, brushwork, composition, line, form, and texture. You have to analyze the formal elements and not interpret the artwork. In the examples that I will discuss, I will focus on the most prominent aspect of each artwork for the formal analysis. You start the formal analysis by identifying the visual elements. Let's look at our first painting by Piet Mondrian, titled Composition A. This painting is striking because of the bright colors and strong geometric pattern. If we describe the painting, we see that the artist only used three primary colors: red, yellow, and blue, and also black, grey, and white. The colors are painted in geometric forms, namely squares and rectangles. There are also vertical and horizontal black lines. To start the formal analysis, we have to decide which elements stand out. For me, the bold colors and the grid-like pattern stands out. The picture plane of the artwork is a square. The first element we will explore is color. Mondrian uses a limited number of colors in this work. He uses the three primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. The colors are bright and saturated. This means that there is no white or black mixed with the color. The colors are applied in large flat blocks. There are also blocks of white, gray, and black. We refer to these as varying shades of blacks and whites. The blocks are separated by thick black lines. The planes of colors are balanced. This means that there are similar areas of each color, and they are arranged in a balanced manner over the picture plane. For instance, the large block of blue on the left-hand side of the painting is offset by the large black block on the opposite side. In the center of the painting, there are two yellow blocks above two white blocks. These areas are weighed down by the blue and black blocks at the bottom of the painting. The blocks of red are also balanced. There are two blocks of red on the left-hand side of the painting, which are balanced out by the long, thin block on the right-hand side. The composition shows that the lines and color planes are geometric and are arranged in a grid-like pattern. There is no sense of movement in the image, since the lines are all horizontal and vertical and cross each other at right angles. This results in an image that appears static. There is no specific focal point in the image. However, I would say that the two lighter areas of white and yellow in the center of the image draws the eyes first. There is no visual elements that make the eye move in a specific manner over the picture plane, which again results in an image that is static. It is important to note that there is no illusion of space or depth in this image. The colors are applied flat, which means that there is no shading or grading of colors and tonal values. The way that the blocks are arranged also results in a sense of flatness. Even though the paint is applied with a brush, and on closer inspection the brush strokes are visible, there is no texture in this image. There is no actual texture, nor is there implied texture. When you look at the painting, you will also see that it does not represent anything in the real world. Therefore, it is not a painting of something. This type of painting was typical of modernism, where artists moved away from representational painting. Mondrian's aim with this painting was to represent an abstract idea of universal truth in this work. The next artwork we will discuss is the work African Lions by John Muafangelo, a Namibian artist. An overview of this work shows that there are 2 lions and a type of tree which makes up the picture. The artwork is in black and white only. We can already see that this artwork will need a different approach to the one of Mondrian, since there is a representation of a real thing, something that we can find in the natural world. Since we can identify specific things in the image, these are the first thing that catch the eye. I start the formal analysis by identifying the subject of the image, which are the 2 lions. The next thing I can identify is the stylized tree in the background and the writing in the right top-hand corner. The lions are not realistically drawn, but they are clearly lions. The lions take up the bottom half of the picture plane. Unlike the Mondrian work, there is no color in the image. The artist used only black and white. The reason for this is the medium. The medium that the artist used is linocut. Linocut is a type of plastic tile that is used in printmaking. The areas that you want to keep white are cut out, and the rest remain. Ink is rolled over the tile, and the cut-out sections stay ink-free. The tile is then printed on a piece of paper using a printing press. The cut-out sections stay white on the paper, and the raised sections print in black. This method can also be used on a wood block. When using a wood block, the texture of the wood is also visible. This medium gives a strong graphic effect to the artwork. This results in a strong contrast between the black and white areas. The nature of linocut as a medium means that the artist can only use areas of black and white. If he wants to give an impression of texture or grading, the cuts must be made fine and close together in the tile. In this work, the artist mostly used clearly contrasted areas, instead of giving the illusion of shading. The lions are not realistically drawn, but they are clearly lions. They take up the bottom half of the picture plane. The lions are facing in opposite directions, which creates a sense of movement in the image. The curl of their tails continues the circular movement. The artist does not use a lot of detail on the animals. Their bodies are black with only the outlines in white. The male lion's mane is created by a number of fine lines that are placed close together. This gives the impression of hair. The close cropping of the picture plane constrains the suggestion of movement of the lions, which make it seem that they are moving close to each other, possibly circling each other. The top half of the picture plane is taken up by a tree. While the lines are mostly horizontal and vertical lines, the tree consists of diagonal lines that create a diamond shape. The thicker bottom branches act as a device to lead the eye to the lions. It is almost as if the branches point to the lions, thereby focusing our attention on the animals. The leaves on the branches are almost the same size and have a similar shape. The leaves are black on the one side and white on the other. The repetition of the pattern on the leaves and the repetition of the leaves create a sense of rhythm. The artist creates texture by repeating the patterns of the leaves and the rocks by the feet of the lions. In addition, the fine lines used to draw the mane also gives a sense of texture. However, the illusion of texture is limited to the pattern, and there is no definite illusionistic texture in this image. The picture is quite flat. The artist did not attempt to create a sense of space or depth in this image. This means that everything is drawn on the same plane. The third and final work we will analyze is Gerard Sekoto's Song of the Pik. Sekoto is known as the father of black modernism in South Africa. His work is described as social realism and was influenced by the social political environment of South Africa, specifically apartheid. Yellow Houses, a work by Sekoto, was the first artwork by a black artist to be acquired by the Johannesburg Art Gallery. When we look at Song of the Pik, the first thing we notice is the line of workers ready to strike the ground with picks. Behind them we see a smaller figure standing watching them. Let's focus our attention on the workers. What is striking about this work is the way that the workers are stylized and painted in the same pose. The reason for this is to create a sense of rhythm. There are many areas that create the rhythm. The workers are depicted in a line that moves from the right to the left of the painting. Their bodies are diagonal from left to right. The strong rhythmic element to the work is intended to give the viewer the experience of the men swinging their picks and working in unison. Therefore, we can say that the artist depicted movement in the image. On the right of the painting, we can see the foreman. He is further in the distance and is smaller than the working men. He is standing passively and is not engaging in any work, apart from watching the men. The next element we will discuss is color. In this artwork, there are many different colors in various shades and tones, which is different to those used in the Mondrian and Mufangelo artworks. The colors are quite light, or are tints, which means that white was added to the color. The artist uses intense color, usually primary colors, to highlight certain sections of the figures. The artist uses mostly shades and tints of the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. He alternates the color in the clothes of the workmen to add to the sense of visual drama and movement. The foreman is mostly painted in yellow, which is similar to the ground where he stands. His body extending over the dark background means that he does not disappear into the surroundings. The workers and foremen are painted in different colors, which add to the idea that they are separate from each other, that there is a definite segregation between them. When looking at the image, we can see that the light comes from behind the foreman. This can be seen in the shadows of the foreman and the workers, as well as the strong contrast that is visible on the workmen's bodies and clothes. The directional light and contrast add to the visual effect of rhythm that we can see in the image. The line of workers recede into the picture plane. This, together with the foreman situated in the middle ground of the picture plane, creates a sense of depth. This means that we can imagine that the figures are arranged in three-dimensional space. The image is divided into three distinct planes: the foreground, which is painted a reddish brown and where the workers are situated, the middle ground, which is painted yellow and where the foreman stands, and the background, which is a dark, indistinct color. Therefore, the artist created an illusion of space in the image. The way that the artist created space is not quite realistic. The workers are big and their action menacing, and they dwarf the foreman. It seems like they can overpower him easily with the strong and rhythmic swing of their picks. From the formal analysis, we can deduce that the painting was a comment on apartheid and to make the viewer aware of the hardships people suffered during apartheid. I analyzed three different types of artwork using the formalist method. By using this method, you can now see why elements of art and design principles are important. You need to understand the elements of art as well as the principles of design in order to do a formal analysis of an artwork. It is also important to remember that you can use the formalist method to analyze any visual text. This means that by using this method, you can analyze an artwork, a sculpture, an advertisement, and even a billboard. In addition, you will also find that the elements of art and the principles of design can be applied to a variety of visual texts. I trust that you learned a lot by watching the 3 videos about visual literacy and that you will be able to complete the assignment with success. I wish you all the best for the practical modules, and I hope that you will have a lot of fun while learning about art and art making. Thank you.